Welcome to Biblical Health TV, radio, television. Today's show is quite a serious topic, and I'm very happy that you've joined us. And this is something that I never thought I'd be doing, but you never know where life takes you. Actually Friday morning, her time, Thursday evening mine, I was speaking with Mai, who is the administrative assistant for Biblical Health TV, and she is over in the Philippines. She's from the Philippines, and she lives in the Philippines. And the storm, the super typhoon Haiyan, was coming on shore. And I said to her, Mai, do you have someplace safe to go during the storm? And she said to me, Hayam, there's no safety anywhere, only in God am I finding my safety, because truly there where she was, there's nowhere to go. And really, isn't that the situation for us all the time? But with her, it was frighteningly real. Well, I'm very happy to report that even though this typhoon ripped through the Philippines, and they're talking about tens of thousands dead, maybe more, a huge storm, 300 miles across, 195 mile per hour sustained winds, a super category 5 typhoon, that Mai and our other staffer over there, Cliff, who we're still waiting to hear from, weathered the storm. Mai, we know, thankfully got news that she is okay, although certainly the country is devastated and people in her own family have been hit in very bad ways. But Mai is joining us on today's program to give a live report from the Philippines about what it's like going through a storm, what it's like to have your faith tested, but really finding joy and peace in the midst of the storm, and also what she's doing and what we can do here as the BHtv family to help her nation. So thank you for joining us here. We'll be back in just a moment, because you know what? You can help people in the Philippines. You can do this. Now may the God of peace himself sanctify you completely, and may your whole spirit, soul, and body be preserved blameless at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, Yeshua, the Messiah. That is 1 Thessalonians 5:23, our watchword here at Biblical Health Television, Radio, and everything else we do, that you would be preserved blameless. And I am not a doctor. Hi, I'm Goldman. Dr. Jeff, the executive director here, is taking the week off, and I am pleased to have a very special guest who we'll be bringing on very soon, Mai Cabaluna Trott, who is our staffer, one of our 2 staffers over in the Philippines, made this amazing storm, this worst storm maybe the world's ever seen, very, very personal, going through it with her, and she's going to be making it personal for you. I just want to encourage everybody to stay tuned to today's program to the end, to let you know what we're doing as far as helping the people of the Philippines and what you can do through Mai. It's amazing that we have someone over there on the ground who can tell us exactly what the needs are and go and take care of it for us. And we're going to be assisting her, and we hope that you will also. But first, just of course, for those of you who may not know or watching our program for the first time, biblicalhealth.tv is our website, and Lessons for Healthy Living 2.0 is the production that we did just a few months ago. We're getting ready now to put it out on DVD. At the beginning of December, we'll be releasing that to minister to you in body, soul, and spirit, to get you healthy in the way that the Creator wants you to. And we encourage everyone to go get that, lessonsforhealthyliving.com, even now for a donation of any amount. Still, for a while longer, just a donation of any amount, you can watch the entire seminar. It's over 10, 11 hours worth of content to get yourself ready. And then when we come out on DVD, we'll be letting you know about that. Well, without further ado, I want to bring on the program from her iPhone, coming from Cebu City in the Philippines, is Mai Cabaluna Trott. Mai is our administrative assistant, as I said. And Mai, I looked this up. I can't believe this. You've been with us since March of 2011, over 2.5 years. Mai, I want to welcome you to Biblical Health TV Radio. For the first time, you've been on.
Yeah, hello, hi.
Wow, it was so happy to get an email from you the other night that you were safe, that you already had electricity back on. That's amazing. But Mai lives in a pretty large city of about 1 million people, Cebu City. Wanted to tell people a little bit about Mai, that she's actually a registered nurse and has worked in the ICU and came to Biblical Health TV. So happy to be here because she believes in the alternative message of alternative health. She also is a Seventh-day Adventist, and they very much teach on health. And so she really believes in what we're doing and loves ministering to people and really taking this message wherever she can. And she's been such a blessing for us. We've had a bunch of different employees, especially webmasters, come and go. And Mai has hung in there while things were really, really tight and always worked very hard. And any success that we ever have with Biblical Health TV will be fully credited not just to Jeff and me and everybody else who helped us, but Mai in the trenches with us, getting us through all the time. So why we have workers in the Philippines? Well, in starting a company, where they're very good workers and very affordable workers, and that's why we looked over there. But Mai really has become family over the years. And when I asked her if she'd come on today's program, she said she's shy. I said, well, Mai, would you do this for your people? She said, okay. So Mai, for such a time as this, you're here to represent your people. For people who don't know, this giant storm that hit, they're looking at least 10,000 people possibly have died. Just, of course, a big storm with a giant storm surge and lots of little islands where basically at sea level where people have nowhere to go. And in reading about this and seeing this, it's just really in the places that it hit was an absolute disaster. And I wanted to show people where Mai is. And if we can have that first photograph or that first image of, well, that's the hurricane itself coming on shore. We have a picture of the hurricane, gigantic storm. Again, 200 mile per hour winds gusting up well above that. I mean, really like a tornado. Next image of the Philippines. Mai is in Cebu, and if you look at where the storm path was, boy, it came very, very close. She was in the midst of the storm, but really the northern part of her island, maybe 20, 30 miles away, got really, really slammed. But if you look up in that area above that, there's a city called, is it Tacloban? Mai Tacloban, and that's the one that you're seeing on the news that absolutely got, I mean, it's basically gone. And possibly 10,000 people killed just in that area, and that's only about 100 or so miles away from Mai in Cebu. If you go to the next photo, you can see that where she is in relation to Tacloban. But actually in the next one, I want to mention that to the south of there, I know that's Tacloban. Is there the next one? There we go. Bohol is about 50 miles to the south. That is Mai's hometown. And you may recognize that name because just about 3 weeks ago, it was hit by a 7.1 earthquake. Where just incredible devastation there. Our webmaster Cliff lives there. Many of Mai's family live there, and they were still intense when this hurricane went down. So Mai's been, just an earthquake just to the south, and maybe the biggest storm ever to hit the planet just to the north, passed by her. Mai, have to ask you, what is it like going and being in such a place?
It was very terrifying, but if you just have the faith, then you can really stand like these types of calamities. It was really, it was my first time to witness these kinds of calamities, like the earthquake. We experience earthquake every now and then, like just a little tremors. But when that earthquake first hit us, it was very strong, and I felt like our house was literally dancing. And like every now and then we suffered like many aftershocks. I think we reached about more than 2,000 aftershocks, and everywhere around us, like houses collapsed, especially my town in Bohol. People are now just living on tents because their houses collapsed after they were hit by an earthquake. And now recently, last Friday, we had another typhoon, and it was very strong, and we could from where I'm living at, like in my house, I could really see, like in my window, I could see like the strong winds and the roofs that are flying. It's not just the roof itself, but including the beam and the beam of the roofs and the houses, and I could see like even strong tree, they fell down, and the coconut trees, they were falling down. And when I woke up the next day, I saw that our area really was devastated, and we could not hear any news what happened to my family and everything, because our power and our internet connection and everything, like our means of communication, was cut off. So just recently we heard about what was going on.
Well, let's show some of the photo. While you keep talking, I'm going to ask a producer to just roll some of the photos, the original ones from Tacloban, and then eventually we have some photos that you took locally. So can we show those while Mai's talking? Okay, keep going, Mai.
Okay, and then we just had our power and our communication back. And when we saw in the TV, the ones that had a worst hit was Tacloban. And like when I saw on the TV, and when I read the news, I saw there that the people are really in need of food, medicines, and water. In fact, some of them are doing some, like, they were looting all around the city, because they really lack food. And the people, you can see really dead people on the street, and the people there, they're walking like a zombie looking for food, because they don't have nowhere to go. And including those people who just live in a temporary shelter, the water came in and it went past their height, and I think it was 10 feet, and the children.
We're watching right now, and when we can end on this photo for the time being of people sitting out, just with nothing, just with a bag and actually a little statue or picture of Jesus and an umbrella, and absolutely nothing there. They're just sitting out with nothing.
And it's very terrifying how the typhoon had devastated the area.
Yeah. So we'll talk about personally your family with the earthquake. You lost some homes, and you heard that some of the, even in the north of Cebu, you said some homes blown away from family.
Yeah. A part of our house in Bohol, it was collapsed. It collapsed, and like my family from the northern tip of Cebu, they lost their houses, and because they were just made of light materials, and so when the wind came and was very strong, they were blown away.
Right. Well, we have some photos now. We're going to show that you sent us locally some photos. Some of the things that you sent were too graphic, and I didn't put them up, but just some of the homes and the devastation, if we can show. So this was just around in Cebu City that you went out on the streets?
It's from the northern tip.
Okay.
Cebu. I asked my cousin to take that one for me.
Okay. So we're seeing here just homes just collapsed.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, this is real, people. We know, we even have people here at the studio who went through Katrina. They know like this, but when you're going through it, and I can't even imagine going through it in such a third world country, although, and certainly we know in Katrina, the response was, if anything, but great. But when I talked to Mai and said, as I related at the beginning of the program, where are you going to go to be safe? And she said, there's no place to go. We're on an island. There's no place to go. So I want you to really relate that, what it's like, because, we're Americans. We believe that we're safe and we're always going to be taken care of. Filipinos tend to know more that they need to take care of themselves and that they're not going to have necessarily the response that's needed. But what it's like to go through that, but also talk about what it was like for you and your roommates in faith going through this and what that was like, the experience of going through this, but as a person with a very strong faith.
For me, Haim?
Yes.
Actually, when we were like having this storm, during this storm, we had we had
can
that
go back to Mai.
like we had a devotional before the storm came in, and it was very timely because we learned about the life of Joseph, and during the storm it was very good, because for me, even though outside we can hear the rumbling of the, like how the winds, it was very strong, and it could even open your doors if you don't lock it. If you don't have a double lock on it, it will open your doors. But during the storm, I could really see that when we were singing, I felt like I was crying, because I could really relate those the ones that I read in the Bible, that if you really just stand in your faith, that you will be protected. That if you are faithful, God will make you have that strong fence around you, and nobody could destroy you, because the Lord will rebuke the devourer if you're just faithful. So when we sang the song, like a hymn song from when we were singing the hymn song, I felt really that peace. Me and my housemates, we had that faith enough to go by with us after the storm.
Yeah. What are you hearing from the people around, and talking to people and talking to your relatives and friends, and just what's the overall feeling in the Philippines now after going through such a devastating earthquake and now this typhoon? What are the tell us about the Filipino people? How do you deal with these things?
I think Filipino people, we are, I think, resilient people. Although they feel that every now and then we had the storm, and it was just it's very painful seeing people, like loved ones who die because of the storm or because of the earthquake. It was very, very painful. But we have that. Although we are not really like mostly Filipinos, they're like Catholics, but it's a Catholic nation. But we have that faith that even though these calamities happen, but we cannot question the Almighty why He gave this one for us. We just look at on the other side, God sent this to us for a reason. And so even though some of the people, Filipino people, you could really see that they're really in pain, and of course they're hopeless, because what they have put in were already gone by just one blink of the eye. And yes, so it's very distressing for some of the Filipino people at the moment.
Yeah, and talking about people who don't have much to begin with, and also the industries being wiped out. I read that the chicken industry and the trees with the coconut industry. I mean, it's also the ability for people to recover after something like this when they had so little to begin with, and now their industry and everything. I mean, really, really. A situation that, for the most part, in America, in the West, we don't even think about that we would ever be close to something like that. And this is what these people are in. And when we read about, people getting swept out to sea, and, if you think about that, living on an island, that's only maybe a couple of feet above sea level, the entire island, as there are so many thousands of islands in the Philippines, and then a 20-foot wall of water, a storm surge comes. There's nothing to do. There's nothing, and so what they're looking at in Tacloban is, again, 10,000 people possibly dead, other islands, other places they don't even know yet because of the communications, bodies everywhere, and of course the threat of disease coming from that, clean water. And so I talked to Mai and was talking to her about her financial needs for her and her family, and also some people contacted us through our BHtv network to contact Mai and send her some money. And then when Mai got it, she said, well, I'm going to give this money to the people in Tacloban. We're going to go and take food and water up there. I said, really? You don't have these needs? She said, they need it so much more. So if you want to know the heart of somebody who's been through this or family devastated and still knows that there are those who need it more and wants to help. And so I said, you know what? When I heard that from Mai, I said, Mai, come on the radio show today. Tell us what the needs are. Let us tell the people and see what we can do as the family at BHtv to give you more funds, because it's really amazing. We question, why do we have people working for us in the Philippines? Well, maybe it's just for this moment that we, BHtv and Nourish the Nations, which is our charity initiative, can get together to help now, to have a personal connection, to know somebody who's going through the storm and to be praying and being worried about them on the other side of the planet really connects you. And now we can do something like this to help. So Mai, before we tell people how they can, what are your plans? I know that it's fledgling. You were talking about toward the end of the week trying to head over there. I don't know, if you'll be able to, or what do the people need? What's the real need now, and what are your plans, you and your friends, congregation, to help your countrymen?
Actually, a member of the church asked me last Sunday if I can go with them to help out, because I'm a registered nurse, so I can help out. And then I said, yeah, that's okay with me. And then when somebody sent me money, I said, this would be a great help, because our church is organizing, it's called an Adventist Community Services, that during disaster we can go there and help. And so I can talk with them and we could, because the need for today is the immediate need of the people. You really need food and water because they don't have it. So I think that would be the money that will be donated will be given mostly for the food and water at the moment, because their rehabilitation will come later. But I think the most important thing that we need today is the food and water for the people.
Right. And of course, although we know at BHtv, we don't support, using pharmaceuticals, medicines, but in a trauma situation where people can be very sick, where the water is diseased, where there are dead bodies around, sometimes that's needed too. And so really anything to keep people alive, to get them through another day, also to get up there and to pray with them, right? And to give them hope and let them know that it's not just them alone, and it's not just relief agencies, but there are people all over the world who care for them, is such an encouragement in these times. And so what we've done is we've set up on our website a special page, and we can bring the URL up. This is a biblicalhealth.tv/relief. RELIEF, so that's biblicalhealth.tv/ and then the word relief. And on there you have two choices. You can give through BHtv, and we're going to send the money on to Mai, or for those of you who'd like to give directly, we also have the PayPal information for Mai herself, so you can give directly to her. As far as the money, where it's going, well, PayPal takes a couple percentage points, but after that, everything is going to help the people in the Philippines. And Mai, we trust as our administrator there, that she will be a great steward, not just a good steward, but a great steward. I mean, how amazing is it? And it blows me away that we have people on the ground there that we know, that are part of our family, that we trust, that we have a long relationship with. People have asked us, where to give, where should I give? Well, you know what? We have people who are there, believers, born-again believers, who are ready to go to the front lines and do this, and I trust them. That's part of Biblical Health TV, to get out there with Nourish the Nations and to get out there and to help be part of this. By the way, Mai, have we heard from Cliff yet?
No, I tried to ring him up yesterday, but I cannot reach him. Okay,
Cliff is our webmaster. He's on the island to the south, so probably, he even maybe had less of the storm than Mai, but because he's in a more rustic area and the center point, the epicenter of the earthquake, where so many things were already down, getting him back up. So please keep praying for Cliff and his family down there. Just amazing what you people I've had to go through. But the fact that we can be part of your family and go through it with you is a blessing to us. So, Mai, I want to show a couple more photos that we have. One is of a rainbow. We have somebody, one of the news services got a shot with a rainbow in the Philippines. If we put that shot up, which of course is a reminder of the promise of the Almighty, that that He is there, even in the midst of all this, that He is there. And I would say this: we had some people write us, and Mai, you probably haven't heard of this, and saying that this was a man-made storm, that it was this technology that's being used, and it wasn't God who sent it, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We're not here to talk about that. The reason we sent out the email, and maybe we shouldn't have said, why did God send the storm? We maybe used some wrong language there. We don't know. But the thing is, this is about the people. It's about the people we know and all the people we don't know. And if you think of something, 9/11 in the U.S., around 3,000 people dying in a country of 350 million, 10,000 plus people dying, and it not being isolated, being in a big swath and pulling on the whole country is just it's a lot. It's devastating. I mean, just of the biggest kind. And but what I want to encourage you is, when you give money, and give any amount, the Filipino peso and the economy of the Philippines is much smaller than in the U.S. So dollars go a really long way. So I mean, people in the Philippines maybe make, even a good living is 1/6 to 1/10 of what people make, as a reasonable living in the United States. And so that your dollar, can be like 10 or more when it goes over there. Give $100, it can be like $1,000 when it goes over. Really make a difference, even little bits of money. I looked at it, and even the Filipino government said they were putting $5 million into relief efforts. Think about that. In the States, it would need to be $1 billion to even start. So the government itself can only put up $5 million. So think about what your donation can be, again, at biblicalhealth.tv/relief. And I want to put up one last photo that we have, which is a tattered Filipino flag flying over a devastated area. And as we finish up, we just have another minute or two, is to give a message. What is your message out to the people who are listening, watching this program today, about you, about your people, and about just how they can be a blessing?
I just want to encourage each one of you to continue to lift us up in your prayers, because we really need it today, this time. And also, my people really in the Philippines, they really need your help, like even just to give them enough food and water to go by after the storm. So it's enough. It's really hard for them to get up again, because we Filipinos, we're a country, and most of my countrymen, we just live are just like agriculture. They're just farmers. So we ask you to help them, even just for food and water, so they can survive. They can get up again and start putting up their houses.
Well, Mai, thank you so much for being up at 3 o'clock in the morning to help your countrymen and everything that we're doing. Please help through Biblical Health TV or directly to Mai by going to biblicalhealth.tv/relief now as we end up the show. Mai, thank you so much. Thank you for your faithful service to BHtv and for doing this. And of course, your prayers, everybody, for Mai, for her family, for Cliff, who we haven't heard from yet. And we really appreciate you as part of the Biblical Health Television family for everything that you're doing. This is part of the ministry. It's not just about you being healthy, but about sharing that around the world and really loving people through this work that we're doing at Biblical Health TV. So Mai, now you can go to sleep. Thank you. I'm sure you have another big day tomorrow, and we'll be sending the money to you as soon as we get it, so that you can help your countrymen. Thank you, Mai, and thank you to everybody for joining us here on Biblical Health Television, and we're here every 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Next week, we have a similar show. We have Pastor Peter Ndamba. We didn't plan this, of course, who's coming. He's going to be in the States from Africa, has a ministry to Africa, someone who we're supporting through Biblical Health TV, and he'll be here on the program next week. So thank you so much. Spread the word. Tell people about this, that they can help. They can make a difference. You can do this.